Hi, Jules Cruise Companion. Today I sit here on a very rainy Thursday, 2nd of March 2023, as I am at my rest stop between where I live and a cruise terminal, because I'm going on another 3-night cruise on Carnival Luminosa. So what I thought I'd chat about today was about the parking or transport, or how do you get to the cruise terminal, the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal. So for me, there are 5 ways that I can think of how to get to the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal. The first one is public transport. It is not the best option, it is not a good option, and I think it's an option that has been completely overlooked by the Brisbane City Council and whoever runs the port, Brisbane Ports, whatever, Authority. But what you can do with public transport is you could catch a train or a bus to the airport, and from there you could catch a taxi or Uber to the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal. Maybe another public transport that they may have eventually would be a CityCat terminal there at Pinkenba. So you could catch a CityCat from somewhere in the city, right up the reach maybe, right up to St Lucia, and come right down to the cruise terminal. That would be another exciting way of getting to the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal. Another parking idea at the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal is the Wilson's car park. And it has 3 car parks, and one of them is undercover, and they are labelled 1, 2 and 3. What appears to happen is anywhere up to about 3 months out from your cruise, you can book a reservation on one of those car parking sites. Of course, the closer one, number 1, is more expensive, and it's a little undercover if I remember correctly, and it has maybe some solar panels over the cars or something of that nature. And then so I am booked next week, I think, when I go on a 7-night cruise. I think I'm booked in number 3. And then definitely for the 25th of March, I'm booked in number 3. So what I'll have to do with that one, because I'm traveling with somebody else with limited mobility, I will have to drive down, drop them off with the bags, drive back to the car park and park, and then walk back by myself, and not let that other person walk with me, because it's just going to be too exhausting for them. An additional part of the Wilson's car parking is you could go to the Brisbane Airport, Wilson's car parking, and purchase the weekend rates or the discounted week rates and park there undercover, and then from there catch an Uber or a taxi. And so that would be an okay idea if you were doing a one-way, even if you did it both ways, but you did want your vehicle undercover all of the time. So that's another part of that Wilson's option that could be available to you. Another system of getting to the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal is going to one of the park and ride services. So I have used traditionally Andrews or Portside parking, but there are other ones available, Apollo and stuff like that. And I've seen, I don't know, the Murray's bus. I don't know whether that's run by the cruise company itself and ferries people in. Anyway, I use a park and ride service. And sometimes, even over Christmas, one of those park and ride services wasn't available because it was all booked out, so I had to go to the other one. Each one works in a very similar way. You drop your car off, they take you via a little shuttle to the cruise terminal, and then at the end of the cruise, you go to the pickup point, you file into the little bus, and off you go. You collect your keys to your car, and that's your journey. It's absolutely fabulous. It works really well, and I've used it a couple of times for things like having my car serviced, for example, because some of them have those external third-party providers, and they can also clean your car if you want for an additional fee. I've done that. I love it. One of the things that I've noticed recently is on advertising on social media is people offering themselves as a door-to-door service from your home to the cruise terminal. I think that was a Redlands or a Brisbane one. Connection did do one before the pandemic happened. I don't know if they still do it at the moment, but one of the things that I didn't particularly like the idea for Connection previously was that it only had one service from the Sunshine Coast to the cruise terminal, and it got you there very late, like 2:30, 3 o'clock, just before boarding. And that wasn't something that I wanted, and it decreased the flexibility. The other thing with those shared ride services is, you know, you may be the first person to be picked up, and then they pick up another couple of people along the way. And so it becomes a bit of a long drive. But the other advantage of that is if you were doing a large party, a group of 4 or 6 or 8, and you had a door-to-door service, maybe that would be a pretty good option if that expense was shared between a few adults. My last thought, I think, which is about my 5th thought about how to get to the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal, would be friends and family. Especially if you're in a local proximity of about an hour radius, for example, having somebody to drive you and drop you off and then be there to pick you up may be an option. If you have close friends and family, that may be in the area. Or if you have friends that are in the city or around Brisbane somehow and you're from out of town, 2 to 5 hours maybe out of town, you could ask if you could drive and spend the night with them beforehand, and then they could drop you to the cruise terminal and you could just sling them some money, whatever your relationship is with them, and if they would take any payment for that. I know in a lot of social media posts on occasion people say that they're coming from out of town and they're asking for suggestions on cruise accommodation before the cruise, and some have suggested different locations that may offer a transport or a shuttle service to the cruise on the day of the cruise. You must have to leave your car there, or if you've flown in and you don't have a car, that could work. What happens if you drive and are parking overnight beforehand? Where does your car stay? That has a lot of questions to it, but maybe it's something that people could explore, and let me know what the logistics and the options are in relation to that. That could be a 6th way of getting to the Brisbane International Cruise Terminal for your cruise. So this is Julie Jules Cruise Companion sitting here at her pit stop just before getting on the way to Brisbane, and I'm in my cruise scarf. It's always a good sign. Love these days. This is Julie Jules Cruise Companion saying stay safe everybody and happy travels.